Hi, this is David Rothfeder, and we are playing Episode 1, Season 1 of Night Witches. We are basically going to do one mission per session and run that through the whole first base. We're kind of skipping the first, intro base where it's just the three missions to get people accustomed to the rules, and we're really just going to focus on who our characters are, what it feels like to be part of the war, and such. So before I talk a little bit more about this game, I'd like everyone to just brief introduction, who you are, maybe one thing that you'd want to share, or not even necessary if you don't want to share anything. So let's just go from left to right, according to my screen, and start with Bethany.
Hi, my name is Bethany. I'm a biologist. I live in the United States. I have never played this game before.
Okay, Brian.
Brian in San Diego. I'm also kind of a biologist. I sequence DNA for a living, and I've never played this game before.
Next is Donahue.
Hi, my name is Donna. I'm in Dublin. No problem. No, I'm in Dublin, Ireland. I work in knowledge management, and I played this game once about 2 years ago and had great fun. And I'm looking forward to killing Nazis.
And Horst.
My name is Horst. I live in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I'm a German teacher. I'm also German, and I have never played this game before. And I also like to kill Nazis.
And again, I'm Dave in Minnesota. I actually have not had a chance to play this game, but I'm super excited to be a part of it. So, for those who are not aware of this, Night Witches is a game about a real life group of women who are part of the basically the communist Russia's basically fighter pilots. Or I'm sorry, bomber pilots during World War II. They were understaffed, undersupplied, were given missions that were just crap, and no one expected them to succeed at that. And basically, since they were women, no one thought they could succeed. So they were given the shittiest planes in the entire Russian Air Force. These women managed to basically. And their mission was doing harassment bombing on the Germans. They managed to be an unmitigated success. The Germans actually gave them the name the Night Witches, obviously the German words for it, because what these women did was they actually turned off their engines while coasting over the Germans, so they couldn't hear these women coming. The planes were so old that they basically coasted on a slower speed than anything else in the Air Force. So the Germans couldn't shoot them down with their own planes because their planes were too fast to stay at speed with these women. And basically, when at one point they even got cornered, and the women just dug up the German rail lines and dropped railroad ties on the tanks as an extra fuck you. That said, this is not going to be a gentle game. The game itself is pretty brutal. One of the things that I want to discuss before we get too deep in it is part of the nature of this game is heavy on sexism. Now, we can cut that out. It is in the rulebook that says, hey, if people are uncomfortable playing a very sexist environment, you can cut that out and it still plays all right. But I think it is one of the deeper parts of this game is to explore that kind of sexist environment while these women are actually, being very liberated at the same time by taking on this military role. So before we get any started, are people okay with that sort of knowing that the characters are going to be in a sexist environment and have to deal with those issues? Or would we rather just erase that from the game and not have to deal with that? Okay, it sounds like we're comfortable with that. Again,
Yeah, I'm
if
okay
at
with it.
yeah, if at any point we're not comfortable with something, please speak up. In fact, we are going to use the Gauntlet standard of the X card. If you are ever not feeling comfortable, you can type it in chat. You can hold up your arms with the X. You can just say X card, and we'll stop play immediately. We'll have a discussion about what happened if we feel comfortable doing that. If we can retcon things so that people feel comfortable, we'll retcon so we can continue the game. If the game needs to end, the game ends. The biggest thing that I think is important about the X card is it's judgment free. If someone feels the need to X card, we do not blame them. It is, as a matter of fact, I'm going to ask that if someone X cards, I'd like everyone to thank that person because they spoke up. They said, "Hey, this is not comfortable." Because actually, what ruins games is people being uncomfortable and that not being corrected. So that is my personal ask for everyone. Does that sound reasonable? Okay, I'm getting thumbs up from everyone. So the next thing that before we get too far into this, because there can be some very rough topics here, let's just draw some lines and veils. If you're not familiar with the terms, a veil is something that is okay to happen in the fiction of the game, but we don't want to see on screen. A line is something that just plain will not happen. So an example that I've seen in the past is very common. A lot of people will say, "I want to draw a line with rape. We do not want to see sexual assault in this game whatsoever." It's completely off the table then. An example of a line or of a veil might be, I don't want to have to picture the imagery of animal abuse. So let's make that a veil. So those are just two examples that I've seen in the past. So let's just start with, are there any lines that people want to say absolutely do not want to see in the game? Because I don't want to run it, I am going to make a line for rape because this game can, can get a little intense, and I don't think that's the right intensity for this game. How about any veils? Doesn't look like anyone has one. Okay. That's perfectly all right. These are all things to make sure that we all feel comfortable in the game. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post a folder with should be everything you guys need for this game. And let me know if there's any problems with being shareable with it being shareable. But let's start by going to the character sheet, which is the Google sheet in there, and that's going to have our character keeper there. So what we're going to do is we're going to create characters, and the first thing we do with creating characters is going to be choosing a nature for your character. Now the natures we can double up on natures, but the book says, well, it's okay. It recommends covering multiple as many natures as possible tends to be better. So I'm just going to go over what the natures are. If you want to read more about them, the document that is get back to that. The Night Witch's Playbooks has all of the natures in there. So
David, I think you have to. I can't change anything in the character sheet.
Okay, I thought I put anyone with the link can do it, but let me just make it public then. Oh, anyone can view. There we go. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go in order with the book, although I think the playbook document has it in a different order. There is the hawk. Hawks are decisive and tough, simultaneously showy and precise in their actions. They are obsessive hunters who strike without warning. So if you want to be kind of the danger of the sky, the hawk is a great option. Owls are quiet and observant. Owls are among they are among the most contemplative of birds. Unlike hawks, they are happy to watch and wait. Owls are solitary predators who feast on the bones of the weak. So if you want to be observant and opportunistic, the owl's a great nature to be. Pigeon. Pigeons are gregarious and not afraid to get their feathers dirty. Resourceful and down to earth. They are vaguely ridiculous and most comfortable in a crowd. So if you want to be very social and very down to earth, pigeon's a great nature to have. Raven. Ravens are intelligent and curious and acquisitive and confident. Unlike sparrows, they aren't afraid to make a scene. They are also carrion birds with a stubborn disregard for propriety. If you like to, figure out loopholes in the rules and go against the grain and kind of be a smartass, the raven is a really good nature to be. And last is the sparrow. Graceful, unobtrusive, and discreet. Sparrows tend to be everywhere and nowhere. They are nervous, timid, and prone to flying away at the first sign of trouble. So if you want to be a kind of flighty and guarded, sparrow is a good nature to be. Now, these natures are going to be what determines your available moves for expansion. So, if you are a hawk, that means a lot of your moves are going to be aggressive. You can take a look at the document to see exactly what some of those moves look like. But let's just have a conversation about what people are interested in and, see where people's heads are at.
I think I like to play either an owl or what was the flighty one?
Sparrow.
A dove. Sparrow.
I have my eye on the raven, but likewise, I'm thinking about the hawk as a second option.
I think either hawk or owl, whichever isn't claimed.
Brian, did you have any thoughts?
I don't know. They all sound good to me, so I'm happy to kind of pick from whatever is left.
Okay. Now, remember, there can be duplicates. So if two people really want to be hawks, that is perfectly all right. In fact, you guys are either going to be the best of friends or the worst of enemies.
I'm thinking maybe pigeon, just because that's the one nobody else mentioned.
Pigeon can be a lot of fun, especially because a lot of their moves. Let me get back to the document. So pigeon moves. Pigeon. Let's see. One of their moves is good for calling people out during a briefing. One of them is about having a secret lover. One of them is about not acting feminine and acting like a guy and breaking gender norms. One of them is tending to people who are hurt. One of them is about when you take a support role during a mission. And then, of course, there's always the choose from another playbook. So as you can see, the pigeon, different moves really push the pigeon in very different directions. But all of them are it is a very social playbook. It's all about your relationships with other people and how other people see you. By the way, when you go ahead and just claim a player sheet, and all what you do is on that player sheet, you can just put in your name on the player thing, and it will automatically update on the summary. So it looks like Dano has already chosen to be a raven.
I just gone ahead and grab that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I take the sparrow then.
The sparrow?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Bethany and Brian, did you have any thoughts?
As far as, well, I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with pigeon.
Pigeon? Awesome.
Let's see. I will take. I'll take owl.
Awesome. So the next thing, and it looks like Dano. By the way, if I'm saying your name wrong, please correct me. It's the only way I'll learn. The next thing was that?
Sorry, the spelling definitely doesn't help. It's Donna.
Donna.
It's like Donahue without the hue at the end, right?
Okay. The next thing is we're going to choose roles in the group. Now, unlike natures, roles can be malleable and shift over the course of the game. Now, it's really only supposed to change between duty stations. So if I do season 2 of this, which I absolutely am thinking of, it'll just take a couple of months for me to recuperate. And you come back in, that would be a time where you can change your role within the unit. Now, the roles, I don't know. Yeah, the roles are on the sheet. So they for the playbooks, so they'll tell you what they do. But the different roles are adventurers who live to fly, dreamers who have their heads in the clouds, leaders who are born to lead and are looking and probably are going to be looking to get promoted through the ranks. Misanthropes who basically kind of say things how they are because, well, things are pretty shit and they're willing to say that. Protectors who are exactly what it sounds like, trying to protect everyone. And zealots. And zealots kind of, believe in the cause and are most likely going to rat people out to the NKVD, which is the effectively the German internal affairs / secret police. I'm sorry, Russian secret police / internal affairs. You don't want to piss off the NKVD. Each of those roles also give you an advantage and a potential way of advancing at the end of the duty station. Which, of course, we're doing one duty station, but we'll still go ahead and I'm going to archive the characters, so that if you level up during that, hey, you get that the next time I run this.
I really want to play a zealot. That makes me a person that is hated by the rest, I guess, but
Potentially, yeah.
or some of you at least. Sorry about that.
It's I think MASH has great analogies to a lot of these roles, and I can't remember their names. Actually, one of them I remember. Their nickname was Hot Lips, but there was also a surgeon in MASH who are like very straight laced and like by the book and hated everyone else for goofing off. That would be a great examples of zealots.
I think I'll be an adventurer if no one else wants that. I'm beginning to get a picture of my character as kind of having a death wish and like no intention whatsoever of surviving this war.
Wow. Okay. So you want to live fast and leave a beautiful corpse.
Pretty much, yeah.
Awesome. It looks like everyone else has chosen roles, but why don't you say a little bit about where your heads is for those roles?
My character, the Raven, whose name is Masha, is a misanthrope. Has never been surprised by a lack of kindness in people. Expects the worst and is never found wanting.
Awesome.
I'm going to expect to be surprised and play, obviously, but it'll take some doing.
Okay, and then lastly we have Brian.
Yeah, I went with Protector. I think I was kind of looking ahead to the bedside manner move.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, thinking I'm the one hoping we all get out of this alive, and I look forward to her being disappointed. That'll be fun.
Okay, so the next thing that you should do is your looks and background. So they are right on your sheet as to what your options are for everything. So just kind of fill out. You choose one option for each, and that kind of helps you flesh out who your character is. Now, there's a spot on your character sheets for sex when it comes to the game. Everyone should already fill that out as female. However, the Sparrow is already an iconoclast and has the option to break this rule. Now, the regiment is completely composed of women, so if the Sparrow chooses something other than female, then basically you're pretending to be female to be part of this regiment.
Yeah, I imagine her to be like what's the term? Femme, like very female,
Mm-hmm.
very cute, and a bit ethereal, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And they are also biologically female?
I mean, I think I have the option concealed, isn't it?
Let's see.
Yeah, female or concealed. So
Yes, so you can put it looking for the Sparrow sheet right now. There was the first one. Yes, female or concealed. So concealed assumes that biologically you're non-female.
let me think on it a bit.
Sure thing. And like I said, that is part of your look and background. So you can fill everything else out and then make your decision. By the way, I do appreciate people using putting your nicknames on your characters. It's going to make it a lot easier for me to refer to you guys by character name. Meanwhile, I'm updating the tabs with your character names.
And can you say something about the ranks?
Yes, I was going to do ranks after we do a little. Actually, basically, I'm going in order in the book. So, right now we are on the looks and background with a note on sex and gender. After that comes ranks. And then, yeah, let's just, it does have a place for share. So let's just do it after everything else is filled out. We'll go ahead and share our characters. But yeah, after we're done filling out our backgrounds, we'll talk about rank. By the way, portraits can obviously wait a little bit, but if you want to start looking for a portrait and inputting into the character sheet, there's definitely space for it. I included the document that had the portraits that basically Jason Morningstar put together. However, it's as a PDF, so it's going to be a little harder to do a screen grab on that. Otherwise, you can source it from online. If you don't want to have a character portrait, that is all right as well. Okay. So it looks like we're almost ready. Just looks like people have one or two things to finish up. So while people are choosing their last options, it looks like there's still Bethany, you're still working on who to write to, and Brian, you're still working on your hometown. While we're doing that, let's have the conversation about rank. Now, you are all new, fairly new recruits, but there's two options for how you're coming in as ranked. You can either be enlisted, in which case you are a sergeant, which is the highest enlisted rank. It means that while you know how to fly coming before the training, obviously not in a military aspect, but you would have known how to fly coming in because they're not going to have women with no flying experience do this. You don't have basically the background to be an officer like most pilots are. So that means maybe you are less educated, or you come from a poor background, or they just don't like the look of you. But in any case, if you come in as a sergeant, your stats are going to be slightly better. The other option for you is you can come in as a junior lieutenant, I believe. Yep. In which case, your stats aren't going to be as good, but the upside is you're going to outrank sergeants, which means that if anyone is a sergeant and you're a junior lieutenant, you get about boss them around. It also makes it more likely for you to be the section commander, which means that you will get the option to divvy out roles. Now, there's a pecking order to this. In general, the women want to be pilots and not navigators because that's the glorious role. Some of the women, though, do prefer that navigator role. Some people want to be in the bombing, on the bombing run. It also means, hey, I'm going to assign myself to the plane I want, is potentially a good thing, because planes have personalities and problems, and being able to assign yourself the good plane and not be in the shitty plane is totally something that could be a big deal. So I want everyone to choose whether they are a sergeant or junior lieutenant. Horst is in charge. Okay.
Bad idea.
So next is going to be stats. You're going to have 3 basic stats and then 1 stat that's just going to start as 0, because certain advances will give you medals, which is what that stat does. So the 3 stats that you're going to have are guts. This is a measure of personal courage, toughness, determination, and determination. Pilots rely on guts a lot, but so do women who want to act as ladies, despite the hyper-masculine nature of the frontline military service. So if you want to be brave, bold, and do adventurous things, you want to have good guts. Luck is a measurement of the immeasurable. Some women are born with it, some make their own. Everyone needs a little bit of luck. Some women need a whole lot of it. So this is going to cover a lot of times where it's like, I'm going to do this thing. Do I get into trouble for it? Or do I get into a bad spot because I did this thing? So luck will get you out of a lot of trouble. And then the third one is skill. Skill is a measure of raw talent, academic training, and assiduous attention to detail. Navigators will turn to skill often, but so will airwomen with their personal antenna tuned to the subtle power plays behind the scenes in the regiment. Skill, I believe, is also very important for helping to repair your planes, which you will oftentimes be forced to do. You remember how I said that this is a game about these women were understaffed? That comes to play when it comes to fixing and doing maintenance on these planes. Your mechanics are an ornery bunch, and if you damage a plane, they expect you to take care of that because they're too busy to do anything else. So what you're going to do is, if you are a sergeant, your stats need to add up to a positive 1. If you are a junior lieutenant, your stats need to add up to 0. That said, the book does recommend to avoid having a set of stats that's +2, -1, -1. Likely, if you're a sergeant, don't do +3, -1, -1. That's equally a bad idea. You can't just rely on one stat in this game, so don't rely on one stat in this game. The 4th stat that I didn't talk about is medals. That is your prestige within the greater organization of the Soviet Union. And as you earn medals, you become more decorated, and people from outside the regiment have to start giving you respect for that.
So what do they suggest not to do?
Don't take 2 -1s.
But I have to end up with 0. So they suggest +1, 0, -1.
Potentially. They didn't say anything against +2, 0, -2. I mean, it means that, oh man, when you roll that -2 stat, it's going to be terrible. But they're saying don't be a one-trick pony. By the way, 000 is a completely reasonable set of stats. Okay, it looks like everyone has chosen their stats. Oh, we actually did one thing out of order. We've already done rolls, which is fine. So it says to share after we do questions. I'd rather have you guys share your characters and what you see your characters. Brief, rough outline of who you think your characters are, and then we'll go into the questions to help flesh things out. So why don't we go from left to right according to the character sheet and start with Bethany.
Yeah. Okay. So my character is Dasha Yegorova. I think that's how you pronounce that. She's a sergeant. Nature is owl. She's the adventurer role. I took 1 in guts and 0 in the other 2. And yeah, I'm basically going to play someone who this entire campaign is a suicide mission.
Okay. Well, what about a little bit about your background? That means you can just talk a little bit about the options you chose from your background.
Yeah. So I'm not even sure where any of these places are. So I picked Vladivostok, the Far East. And I write to the editor, and I haven't decided who that is yet, but someone known as the editor.
Awesome. So maybe you're sharing your adventures as a member of the 588 with the editor, and they're basically writing stories for your hometown about what it's like being a bomber pilot on the front line.
Yeah, that's kind of, I guess that's the obvious thing for that to be, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
And we can figure out more about that relationship you have with the editor later. Maybe.
Okay.
But just in general, that sounds awesome. So then let's go to Ira.
Yeah, Ira, the pigeon and protector. So Ira's going to be spending a lot of time trying to keep Dasha from getting herself killed, I suspect. And I'm from, where am I from? Where is that? I've lost where it is.
Bratsk.
Yeah. I still don't see where. Anyway, Bratsk. I looked it up. It's. I think it's pretty remote. It's kind of in the not super remote Siberia, but it's like in the middle of Russia.
So you're from a small town.
Yeah, small town. And I write home to my baby sister.
Awesome. Masha as opposed to Dasha.
Masha is our raven and misanthrope. So I guess she is adept at scrounging and generally bucking against the boys' club. She is from Chelyabinsk, which is a big industrial town just across the Ural Mountains. And I think she's a sergeant, and I think she never had an option to go for a flyer, but she's very good at navigating. She's really good at just picking a direction and it working out for her.
Mhm.
Her luck is 2, and her guts are 0. So in terms of skill, she probably has had to rate for piloting, but isn't very good. um, she writes to no one. I think if anyone knows her from the training days, she used to write to a boyfriend named Boris, but he never wrote back, and she just gave up. So
No wonder
yeah,
why she's a misanthrope.
Yeah, so she likes. I mean, she likes to think that she has better things to do with her time, right? I think that's about it so far.
Okay. And then next is Hannah.
So I'm playing Hannah Ruttmann. She is a sparrow and a zealot. And my question to you, David, does that mean that she is like a fanatic communist, or what kind of belief system is she zealot about? Or of?
It doesn't, it's pretty open ended there. The big thing about zealots, though, is basically they believe in what they're doing and they believe in the military structure. And if they're the ones who are most likely going to rat someone out to the NKVD, or even possibly they'll rat people out to the hierarchy of the regiment. They might go and go to, let's see, Maj Yevgeny. I can't pronounce his name. Let's go like the captain Lobodeva, or one of the members of the command staff. They may go and report issues there, but they're going to be the ones who are likely going to want things done by the book. Because they think that they think the book is right. Now, whether that means you believe in you're a cog in the military machine that's going to protect Mother Russia, or you are a fanatic for the Communist Party, that's up to your interpretation.
Yeah, I think I go for the latter. So I think she's an idealist in the sense of that she thinks that the revolution will bring equality for everyone, even women, eventually, but there will be hardships before, and some people have to be sacrificed for the cause.
You're doing this for the glory of the USSR.
Yes, I do. And for world peace, eventually.
Well, of course, because the USSR is going to consume the world and have the perfect communist, world nation.
Yes, all people will live in freedom under communist rule, of course. She is a junior lieutenant, probably because of her political ties, I would assume. Her uniform follows the regulations. She's beautiful. She has very expressive eyes. She comes from Moscow, so probably educated, and she writes to herself.
Oh, God. Oh, people are so going to hate you. All right. Well, then, kicking it off, I'm going to start with Hana. What did you lie about on your regimental intake form?
Mm, that's a tough one. It's the regulations I want to protect, but I lied. I think she lied about being she's Jewish and she was religious and part of the, like, I don't know, the
Oh, you're a secret
synagogue.
Jew.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly. And I think that would have damaged my chances to for a career in the army.
oh, absolutely. Um, absolutely. I did not give myself a place to take notes on this. Um, I'm going to open up a Word document really quick so I can keep notes about this. I knew I was forgetting to do something. I'll have to transfer them somewhere else later. But I should. Secret Jew. Awesome. Oh, that's a delicious secret. Um, let's go. Ira, when uh, when you were less disciplined by the squadron commander, what was the reason?
Um, I feel like I don't know enough. I also think she may not be entirely sure because there's like 3 things that it could have been, and she was trying to pick out from context clues of what he was saying which one he knew about.
She.
Sorry. Um,
What were the 3 things?
Oh, now I've given myself a harder task. I need to come up with 3 now.
We can come back to you with those 3 in a little bit, but let's figure out what some of the trouble that you're up to is. Dasha, what did the Germans take from you?
I feel like the really obvious answer is like someone I cared about. But yeah, why not? Let's go with the obvious answer. And my best friend was a pilot and crashed and after being shot down by the Nazis. And I mean, I already wanted to kill Nazis, but now I really want to kill Nazis.
Your friend came out here a little bit before you. There actually was a integrated squadron. She was probably part of that squadron.
Cool. Yeah.
Perfect. So best friend was shot, or actually, was your best friend female or male?
I'm gonna go with female. Someone from my hometown that I looked up to. She was probably my inspiration for doing this. Maybe she taught me to fly. That is an excellent question. Let me look at the random names that haven't been chosen here. Oops. Her name was Sarah Rabinovich.
Sarah. Okay. And then Masha, what job, pilot or navigator, would you prefer and why?
Yeah, well, I probably answered this already earlier. Definitely navigator. Seem to have a knack of it, and frankly, I wouldn't want to be in a plane I was piloting. I mean, if you want to land, that is, I mean.
Okay, let's circle back. Ira, have you thought of? You don't have to have all three, but have you thought of any of the things that you did to cause trouble? Now remember, things that this counts as getting things that are necessary through unofficial channels.
Yeah, I was one idea was just either a tool or a part for a plane that I snuck off, and I think a tool that I borrowed that some if they knew how bad we needed it, they would have let us have it. They don't listen. So
Was it? Did you borrow the tools from a different regiment?
Yes.
So I'm writing down that you borrowed tools from another regiment without filling out Form 34B-7.
So long.
I know.
In the time it takes me to fill out that form, I could get the tool, use it, bring it back.
These are great. Masha, when has your sexuality gotten you into trouble?
Well, fraternizing with officers as an enlisted personnel, right? That's frowned upon at the best of times. So I'm imagining that. How about that tool that that Ira borrowed from that other regiment? It was one of the kind of male regiments, standard regiments who are stationed in the same aerodrome that I had to keep a lieutenant busy while she snuck in to steal the tool. But it got me into trouble because, well, while I was there, I may as well enjoy myself. And obviously, the MPs or the commanding captain or whatever of the squadron caught us, and we both got rowed up.
No, I think that would have been an NKV interview with the NKV.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay. What was the officer's name?
Dimitri?
Lieutenant Dimitri?
Yeah, I'm sure he's a second name, but I can't remember.
Are you still in touch with Lieutenant Dimitri?
I imagine that he really doesn't want anything to do with me, but whenever, or I'm not sure if we share like a mess tent or something like that, but I'm always no.
The regiments would stay separate for the most part.
So on the few,
sometimes a regiment passes through or something like that for resupply.
So I make nice, but I know he doesn't want anything to do with me. So I'm really just annoying him.
How long ago was that? Was the last time you saw him?
I don't know, maybe a few weeks.
Okay. I'm just making notes. Okay. Oh yeah, this is totally the one. Dasha, when has your sexuality gotten you out of trouble?
Um, so, so I had to do the same thing at some point. But I'm not actually interested in men, so it didn't go any further than absolutely necessary. And I think like that at the time, maybe the person I was trying to distract was like looking for a way to get me in trouble, and yeah, I disappointed him
Ooh, so
in
maybe you were.
multiple ways.
Did you flirt with a member of the NKVD?
No, I think someone who like reported to them.
I mean, the NKVD basically has the same ranks as the regular military, so it could have been like a junior lieutenant NKVD.
Oh, okay.
It's just
Yeah, that would work.
okay. What was his name?
Good question. God, I don't know. I don't know Russian names.
On the handout, the last page has great family names.
Cool. Let me find that. Too many handouts.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know the material super well, but yes, the Night Witch's handout, which basically has a list of
hey,
all
here
the
we go.
moves and everything.
I see it. Yeah. His name this was Junior Lieutenant Kramov, Kramov, Kramov. I think that's how it's.
Let me get the spelling right.
We should also probably give Dimitri a surname because he's clearly not named Lieutenant Dimitri.
I don't know. Maybe that's what maybe that's
Yeah,
what
I
he
mean,
was called, and all that Masha remembers.
yeah, I
If-
think I didn't catch it maybe, and we don't know them well enough to know them for sure. I mean, we can give him a name, obviously, but let's call him Dmitry Petrov.
Petrov.
But Petrov, yeah. But you know, if someone said Dmitry Petrov, I go, oh yeah, that's his name, but I can't recall.
Dasha, what was the last name that you said again for yours?
Let me find one I can pronounce here because I can't pronounce that one. That's the problem. There is one I can pronounce. I don't know how to. I need to learn how to what syllable to put the emphasis on. Maltsev.
Maltsev?
Maltsev. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I found that one. And later I'm going to publish these answers in the document. I just don't know where it needs to go yet. Okay. Hannah, in what ways do you dress or look like a woman?
I mean the uniform's the uniform, and I picked regular, or I don't know what the option actually is.
Regulation.
Yeah, regulation. It's probably what's it called? a necklace or something. Like I wear jewelry, probably under the uniform, and the uniform itself.
Does that include earrings?
Yeah. I think from my mother, probably some like a red earring, a ruby or something, and then a necklace.
Awesome. Oh man, that's for a communist. I mean, you're flaunting the wealth of your family there.
Mhm.
Ooh. And then we have Ira. In what ways do you dress or look like a man?
Um, I think Ira has a pretty manly frame. She didn't have long hair. Could maybe mistake her just by her frame.
So you have a broad frame and short hair.
No, long. The hair is long.
Oh,
That's what.
so like a broad, sturdy frame.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, gotta push this. Dasha, whose picture is taped to your plane's dashboard?
Oh, that would be my dead friend Sarah.
Forgot about the dead friend, but yes, that totally works. Hannah, who in the regiment invokes the strongest feelings from you and why?
Is it among the PCs or NPCs?
You can choose an NPC if you really want to, but I would probably suggest a PC for this.
The strongest feelings. I mean, who of you would be the most rebellious or the most, I don't know. Okay, Donna. So Masha, I think strong feelings of, I wouldn't go as far as hate, but contempt, because she clearly doesn't care.
Strong feelings of contempt for Masha. Excellent. Masha, when we search your foot locker, what surprising thing do we find?
Surprising meaning like not like contraband or about her personality or
Anything that people would not expect to find in your foot locker.
okay. I mean, a couple of things that don't surprise people is, say, like a small stockpile of condensed milk that she has scrounged from the cook, you know, because there's always like 2 left over after every kind of weekly rotation, and the
Can
cook
get you
keeps
into
one.
trouble, but people probably
Yeah,
said people are not surprised by that.
Yeah, that's
so.
totally like, yeah, definitely Masha would have that. Surprising, she has letters from home, but they're quite old. So would have been like, you know, before she hit the front in basic training. from her mother and father. So kind of like and they're kind of lovingly treated. Maybe they're in a wax wrapping to keep them safe from water damage or anything like that. Carefully tied, just really treated lovingly.
Now, so you know, the missions we're running are going to actually be the regiment's first combat missions.
Okay.
So we're basically going to rush through the training missions and not actually roll them. I'm just going to give you the effects of them. But you would not have been doing this for long, because that's what that first set of missions is designed for.
Okay. So let's change that to maybe letters from her old boyfriend, who she has stopped writing to since she went to the front. But these are letters that she had exchanged when she was living at home. Maybe before the war.
Mm-hmm. What was your lover's name?
Boris, I think we had said.
Your ex-lover, Boris. Excellent. And let's see. Ira, whose funeral did you miss by volunteering for flight training?
My older brother. Yeah, instead of attending his funeral, I don't think he was a pilot or anything. Maybe he was.
I mean, if he was a young man, it was very likely that he could have been conscripted into the infantry.
No, he was fighting. Yeah, probably infantry.
What was his name?
Oh, where are people getting names from?
There is on the handout sheet. There is a list of last names. But obviously, you already have a last name, so. Basically, what's a first name?
Sorry, I'm trying to search for one, and they're not.
It's called handout, and then it's on page 7. The first names.
Oh, there is a handout with first names?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's the handout sheet with the basic moves and...
Yes, I see. Revolutionary names.
Okay.
And then page 7 is male and female names.
Lev.
Lev. Lev. Awesome. We have 3 more rounds of questions to do real quick, and then probably a bio break, and then we'll do a little bit more for setup of the game, and then dive in. So, Dasha, what did you do when your first flight instructor failed you because you were a woman?
Um, I mean, I think I just told him, fine, I'll find someone else, and did.
You insisted on getting a new flight instructor.
Right, yeah. You know, like, he failed me, and I asked him why, and like, after a few very short conversation, it was pretty clear why.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
What did you have to do to convince his higher ups that you needed to be tested by a different flight instructor?
I want to say I blackmailed him, but
That totally works.
yeah, I don't know what I knew about him, but I knew something.
I mean, you you could have just threatened to go to the NKVD about about the flight instructors not not supporting this program. That's scary enough.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's, yeah. Good point. It's simple. But yeah, I didn't continue, like, yeah, I did find a different flight instructor, but like I blackmailed him into like getting his higher ups to assign me someone else.
Okay, I'm gonna look up the book. Actually has the specific articles that the NKV cares about.
Oh, cool.
So I will look. I'll look that up later. Yeah, this is the better one. Masha, what happened the last time a crowd of brother airmen wolf whistled in your direction?
I have to think that the first time it happened with these particular set of guys, she waved them off. Whatever, I don't care. But then the second time, she, which was the last, the final time they tried it, she walks up to the ringleader and just kicks him in the nuts. And I think the balance is, do we really want to beat up a woman versus do we want to get beaten up by a woman versus it's just a lot of fun to laugh at this guy squirming in the mud. So yeah, they don't bother me anymore. Not these set of guys, at least. So very upfront approach from Masha.
Okay. Do you know this person's name, or was it just a random guy?
Um, I don't know. I mean, you said that we don't really share the setup with people, so
Yeah,
different air crews are in and out.
Yeah, this was probably at the training.
Okay,
field.
yeah. So, I mean, I don't think I know them, but I'm sure we'll see them again, right? Do you want me to pick a name?
Nope, I'm picking it because you don't know the
Okay.
guy.
Okay, sure.
Awesome. Hannah, what would you be doing if they didn't let you fly?
I mean, what would I do about it, or what would I do instead?
What would you do instead?
Oh,
If they grounded you, what would you be doing?
I'd still be part of the military. Is that the assumption?
Probably
Or
not, because
is
there's
it-
not many places for women in the Russian
Okay.
military.
I would go back to university and study like Marxist history.
Marxist. Well, it's probably more theory than history at this point.
Yeah, it's some kind of Marxist science.
It's mostly propaganda at this point. And then finally, Ira, when did you get a favor because of your gender, and how did you pay it back? Brian, you're still muted.
God. I think I need a cup of coffee. I'm feeling slow today. When did I get? I don't even know where to start with that. Favor. Trying to what could the favor be?
Really, anything.
Yeah.
Even just like getting a little bit of sugar or salt or a film, borrowing a film projector for the girls, with a movie. Resources are tight, so anything that we don't even think about as a creature comfort, potentially like getting that even just temporarily would be a big favor during this time. Or heck, even getting into this regiment could be a favor.
Yeah. Who would be able to? I consider that, but I couldn't think of who it would be that. I don't know who would even be able to give me that favor.
If that's the favor, I'll figure. We
Okay.
can figure that out.
Sure.
Needed a favor to get recommended to regiment. Let's see. Where
It's kind
are
of
you
like
from?
you need a letter from your senator type deal.
Well, someone had to, someone had to go to bat for you to say, yeah, this woman can totally fly. Um, um, go Alexandrov, yeah. Does that sound good? Captain Alexandrov recommended you even though he didn't really know you.
Sure, sure.
Okay. Dasha, why does the NKVD already have a file on you, and how did you get around the black mark to join the regiment?
Sorry, did you say Dasha or Masha?
Dasha.
Let's see. Why did I? What would I have done up to this point? What would I have done that they would know about up to this point? I guess is the better question.
Yes. Now, it's not necessarily something you've done. It's just something that caused them to decide to investigate you, and then you had to convince them to not disqualify you because of that.
Right. Okay. So, I was just people I knew were let's see, people maybe like cousins of mine back home were suspected of some kind of seditious activities.
Oh, were they suspected czarists?
Maybe. I don't think that's what they were. I think that's what they were suspected of being. I think what they were was also illegal. But either way, yeah, my name was associated with them, even though I wasn't actually involved, I don't think.
Okay. What were they actually up to?
What were they actually up to? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what. There were a whole lot of things that were disapproved of.
Black marketeering, racketeering, communication with enemies. Really
smuggling.
could be this bad. What was that?
Smuggling. Vladivostok is right on the Sea of Japan, so they were smuggling in something, some sort of contraband.
They were smuggling goods in from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So good. Who am I giving that to? Okay. Masha. What does the Marxist-Leninist struggle against the forces of reaction mean to you personally?
As I think our local political scientist in the section knows or suspects, not very much.
Careful now, careful.
She is not. She's not a reactionary. She's not a counter-revolutionary, but neither does she really care for the Marxist-Leninist revolution. So yeah, I think not much. The Soviet Union is just her country, and she's a kind of like a normal patriot fighting in the Great Patriotic War. I'm not sure she would ever, admit that to anyone. But yeah, I think not very much is the answer to that question.
So basically, the Marxist-Leninist struggle is just a bunch of bullshit. But this is your country.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is Russia. Awesome. Ira, what did the Soviet take from you?
Me personally, probably not much, but maybe my family. There was a family farm that it's been collectivized.
Um, okay. And because I love giving the zealot these types of questions, Hannah, were your parents actually guilty?
I think so. I think they were guilty of opposing the Communist Party by still adhering to their religion. So they had secret meetings or like a hidden synagogue or something, and the secret police found out. I hope I didn't rat them out.
So they were basically helping to keep the Jewish community organized. Not necessarily
Yeah, I mean-
to any end, but
No, it's like based on the Marxist-Leninist theory. Religion is just opium for the people and distracts from the class struggle. So
yeah. I mean, my understanding was the communists weren't really going after Jews unless they were very, they were basically standing out. So like something like, oh, hey, organized Jewish community, that's not good.
it's not about being Jewish, it's about being religious.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So of course they didn't. They weren't actually convicted of being Jewish. That would just be, religious discrimination. They were, guilty of conspiring. Obviously, a bunch of people meeting in secret in hidden rooms. That's a conspiracy against the state.
Yeah, I think it's like a bourgeois atavism that still holds back the revolution. Everything would be fine if we didn't have the instincts to pray to a non-existent god or stick to traditions that are clearly superstitious.
When was the last time you saw your parents? Or I'm sorry, when was the last time you've heard from your parents?
I think, I mean, I don't write them because I write myself, as we established, but I think that I do get letters from my mother.
But
And the last time,
you have not heard anything from your father.
I think he's disappointed that I don't follow in the footsteps of my heritage in a religious way.
I was more getting at if he's been caught. Wait, have they been caught of this, or have they not been caught? Because
I see. Yeah. Probably it's very likely that he's in prison for counter-revolutionary, I don't know, measures.
your father is not heard from. Awesome. And the last section of questions. Um, Ira, who do you routinely see from your brother unit, the well-equipped and all-male 218th Night Bomber Regiment, and where and why?
Okay. So it was my brother's unit.
No. So brother unit means
Brother unit. Oh, okay, I got you. I just heard brother. Oh, wait, what? Who do I see?
So it's basically the all-male counterpart, except they fly important missions, are
Right.
super well stocked, and everyone loves them.
Well stocked. So they're probably who I borrowed the tool from. From a small town. It's probably not someone I knew before. Maybe there was a pilot I met in training.
Was he your flight instructor?
Yeah, that makes sense. Sure.
Awesome. What was his name? Yeah, I know you hate that question. But
No, I know where to find these now. Let's see. Vasily Zurov.
Zurov?
Yeah. Zhurov.
So where do you see him and why?
Where do I see him? I mean, I think I seek him out when I have questions. Because he's even if I'm, not supposed to be going off and talking to him, he's got the instructor in him. He can't, if you start him asking him questions, he'll lecture. So you can still learn from him.
You go to him for advice, and where are you able to find him? More likely, where can you interact with him in a place where it's away from prying eyes? Because you're not supposed to be associating with a fraternizing.
Right. So I probably have to maybe he gets up really early and takes walks, and I know that if you can wake up really early and sneak off, you can get some time alone with him.
Not going to bed at, well, no. Both regiments are nocturnal. So would this then be,
okay.
Do you get up early or you get up late in the morning, because most people are waking up in the afternoon?
I'm just picturing that I'm sneaking off at whatever time that we're supposed to be in bed.
Yeah, you could try sneaking off after missions.
So it's probably after missions. Is Would he be on that same schedule, or
Yes, because his regiment is also night bombing.
okay?
Because it says specifically night bombing.
Okay, yeah. So I'm after we get back, I try to sneak back and
Yeah, so he probably
Be-
takes these walks to
before
try
he
to
goes-
clear his head so he can get to sleep.
right.
You're bugging him with a bunch of questions.
Yep.
Awesome. Um, so, oh yeah, this is totally a Masha question. Masha, who do you know in your sister unit, the photogenic media darlings of mostly female 586 fighter regiment, and how do you feel about her?
Lieutenant Evgenia Andropova.
Hold on a second. I need to write that down. What was that again?
Evgenia is her first name, and Andropova is her family name. Evgenia is actually the first name on the list of female names. I'm not sure if Andropova is where it is. If it's not, it should be.
You know what? I've given up on trying to spell these correctly.
Okay. So she is, I guess her and Masha are like chalk and cheese. Like you said, like they're darlings of the media. They are always getting, full page spreads, actual photos alongside the tales of their exploits. Evgeny is a hotshot pilot, and is very friendly. And I think, though, she kind of gets Masha. Maybe Masha reminds her of a little sister. And she knows exactly how to deal with Masha. From Masha's point of view, I suspect she's a little bit in love.
Oh.
Um,
So this isn't pushing your buttons. This is getting you hot and heavy.
I'm not sure. I don't think it's gone anywhere, but certainly Masha is starstruck, right? In a way that doesn't seem like her.
So Afghania is kind of flirty toward you, but you haven't had the confidence to make a move.
Yeah. Or maybe hasn't even thought that far ahead yet.
Awesome. Hannah, who do you know from the Fourth Air Army Logistics and Supply Commissariat, and what favor do you owe them?
I didn't get that because you're roboting a little bit. I don't know if it's on my end or on your end. Something's with your microphone, maybe. Can you repeat it?
Sorry about that. Who do you know from the Fourth Air Army Logistics and Supply Commissariat, and what favor do you owe them? So this is someone who's responsible for allocating supplies, or potentially responsible for that. But that's certainly what take the question is designed towards.
So, well, we needed some part for the plane, obviously, because that's what the logistic part of the army is for. So that's why I owe her or them a favor.
It's probably a him.
Or him. But did I promise him something, or did he like ask for something?
You would
He
owe
got,
him a favor. So
yeah.
you so basically you asked him for something, and we need to know what.
Yeah.
But also who he is.
So let's see. We have this nice list. The guy is called Anatoly, and his last name is Chernov, which means black. That's as far as my Russian knowledge goes.
Antonely, and what was the last name?
Chernov, it is Chernov. Chernov.
Okay, and what did he do for you?
So I'm obviously as a player, I'm not an expert, but it is an important part of the plane I'm flying. So
Sure, whatever. Maybe it was you needed a new landing wheel.
yeah, exactly.
Okay. It wasn't that hard. I mean, it was sort of awkward because you outranked him. He was a sergeant.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if I can just command someone from another part of the army.
He certainly didn't want to take our orders from a woman.
I mean, I tried, and if when he refused, I obviously pondered whether or not to rat him out to the NKVD, but I thought it would be faster to just promise him something.
Especially because he was following regulations. And then lastly, we have Dasha, right? Yes. Dasha, who do you know west of Dnipro in occupied territory that's been silent since June of 41? So basically, who's in the territory that's been taken over by Germany?
I think my brother. I think by this point, I kind of assume that he's dead. And his name is Pavel. What
Same last name.
Yeah, Yegorov.
What was he doing that far west?
I don't know. He never said. He received orders from some government agency, and he wouldn't tell me why.
Was he part of the military, or was he a civilian when he was basically sent on this mission?
He was in the military.
Was he an officer or was he enlisted?
I think he was an officer.
Okay. So that kind of fleshes out our characters, some of their history. I'm going to go ahead and let's take a 5-minute bio break. Do what you need to so that we can go in. We'll do a little bit more creation thing for the planes because I think it's nice to have those planes pre-created. We'll run through how the rules work and what the structure of the game looks like. We'll summarize what your training was like, and then we'll take whatever time is remaining and just use that to kind of play to the first mission. So let's be back at about 27 after.
So plenty of ammunition there, right? Plenty of juicy tidbits.
Yes, nothing I'm going to throw at you now because I need some time to digest it. There actually are a few more NPCs we need to make that we'll just make, a name and maybe one or two questions about them, just to make sure we fill out the whole section. So we have 4 characters, it's 2 planes. Yeah, we'll need 2 more NPCs there. And then a squadron commander. And then Hannah, you'll be the section leader for now, I'm guessing. Let me make sure that's how that works. Oh, no, you need to be a lieutenant for that. Which you might be. Okay, so we'll just wait for Brian to get back, and then we will go create the planes and a couple more NPCs, and then take things from there.
Will you go over the basic moves as well, or?
Yes, I'm going to go over how the mechanics in this game work. I was going back and forth whether I wanted to do that before making the planes or after making the planes. I think it probably makes more sense to do it right before we get into role playing. So I was going to do it right before we go into just summarizing the first aerodome, and then we'll summarize that, let you make a couple choices, and then we'll go ahead and do some role playing. While we wait for Brian, let's get started on the planes. So, Dasha, the first aircraft, what's its tail number?
228.
228. And Hannah, why is this the plane that everyone wants?
It's probably the most reliable, so the least one to have some kind of malfunction, which is obviously something that happens a lot.
Okay, so it has a personality of reliable and trustworthy. Masha, what is the tail number for the second aircraft?
It's I think it's a way out of sequence. It's like 51 or something.
51. Excellent. And Ira, why doesn't anyone want to fly 51?
I think it has actually crashed and been rebuilt.
Okay. So what's quirky about the plane then?
I think it's functional, but I think just the wind gets in. There's just tiny, cracks and holes where areas that are supposed to be sealed or just have it's noisier inside and.
Well, these are open airplanes.
Oh, okay.
But I'm going to give it the personality then. It sounds like it's wild.
Okay.
Does that sound like a good personality to you guys?
Sure.
So then we're going to go in reverse order. Ira, what is the third craft's tail number? That's you again, Brian.
Oh, I'm sorry. 256.
256. And then let's see. Then it was Masha. Why is 256 controversial?
I think it's slower. Slower than most planes. I mean, there's a bit of variability, but it is, maybe 8 or 10 knots slower than every other plane in the squadron.
Sounds like a lazy plane to me, which some pilots probably like it. They're like,
yeah, I think
Germans
maybe the downside of being like slower, it actually also has a lower stall speed. So you can go much slower than anyone else. Maybe that's handy on a bombing run or something like that. So there's pluses and minuses.
Yeah, it's really hard to shoot down because it just glides so slowly across those German tanks. It's like you can wave to them as you drop that bomb, but it's a pain in the ass because the section commander is always on your ass about slowing down the rest of the squad.
Keeping formation, right?
Yeah, exactly. And then let's see. I believe it was Hannah. What is the reserves plane tail number?
So what do we have? We have two 56, then the 51, the odd one, and
228. This is all on the section info. So the last tab, this is all in the character keeper.
Oh, let's see. Under
section info.
Section info. Let's see. Duty stations. Oh,
no,
I see.
No, in the character keeper.
I see. Let's go with 281.
281 is our reserve plane. And Dasha, why are there orders to avoid using the reserve plane whenever possible?
So it hasn't crashed, but 2 navigators have been shot in it.
Ooh, this is a cursed plane.
Yeah.
All right. What is the name of your squadron commander? This is the person who organizes all of the 3 plane sections.
Olga Petrova.
And she is a senior lieutenant. Olga Petrova?
Petrova. I think that's.
Petrova.
Yeah.
Um, and what's her personality like?
I think she just wants to get things done. Like, she doesn't want to dither over how and who's responsible. It's just like, as long as it gets done, fine, it's good.
Cares about results above all else. Awesome. And then, who is the lead mechanic assigned to your section? This would also be a woman, because she is part of your regiment.
Let's go with Nina Mirova.
And how does Nina Morova deal with the constant stress of trying to get your planes ready to go every day?
Badly. I mean, I think she's like a wizard mechanic who got promoted to a level which she can't do the things she's good at anymore.
Well, she would still be a sergeant, which is actually like really high up for a mechanic.
Okay, but I mean, like, she can't get as greasy as she would like. She can't actually fix the plane. She's like doing administrative work, and that drives her nuts. She wants to.
So your lead mechanic is still going to be your mechanic. It's just she's the one who's in charge of the other mechanics.
Okay, well, maybe she's just not good at handling people. It's like, let me do that. It'll be faster to do it myself than to show you. So not good at managing her mechanics.
Okay, so she does not delegate responsibility well.
Yeah.
So in your squadron, there are two other women. Who are they?
I mean, I can give them names, but do I also have to say like what position they have, like pilot, navigator, and so forth?
So pilot and navigator, it gets assigned for the specific mission. So it will be the section leader or squadron commander who assigns that. That's also going to be the person who's going to be assigning the planes. Now, I might ask the question of what do they prefer, but right now I'm trying to fill out those empty spots.
So let's go with Valentina Rudina.
Is she a junior lieutenant or a sergeant?
Let's make a junior lieutenant.
And what does she always insist upon during a mission? Like, she insists on something for herself and is really difficult when she doesn't get it. So what is she always after? By the way, anyone can answer these questions.
Maybe like a particular position in the flight formation?
Yeah. I mean, does she insist on being in the bombing plane? Does she insist on wayfinding? Does she always want to be in one of the support planes?
In the bomber, maybe?
She always wants to be in the lead bomber.
Yeah.
Okay. And then who's the last member of your section?
Still, I can give her a name. Let's make her. Let's see, Olga.
We already have an Olga.
Oh, we have an Olga. No problem. Irina.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Irina?
Irina is Irina. So Ira. I mean, maybe that leads to confusion as well. Let's see. What about Sophia?
Sophia?
And then her last name is, I want to make it as easy as possible, Lavrova.
Lavrova. Is she also a junior lieutenant, or is she a sergeant?
She's a sergeant.
Awesome. What terrifies Sergeant Lavova? Larova.
She's very superstitious.
Very...
So anything that she perceives as a bad omen.
Oh, there's always one in. There's always one. Okay, awesome. So the reason that's important is because this game is divided into day and night, and there's a couple of things that will happen like at dusk and dawn, but the majority of but basically all of your moves are going to either be a night move or a day move. Now, the night moves are all about the mission. There are things that you can do during. Usually, there's only going to be a couple of rolls during the mission, and that sums everything up. But there's a couple of things that we can do that you could potentially do to kind of push your luck, or if things are going bad, you can try to change the narrative a little bit. It gets risky, but you notice. But I want everyone to take a look at the Night Witch's handout document, and we'll just go through all of the moves, and we'll start with the day moves because these are what you're going to be spending the majority of your time interacting with. So the first one is eyeball. It's when you size up a person or a situation. It's kind of like read a sit or read a person in Apocalypse World. I forgot to ask, how many people have played a Powered by the Apocalypse World game before? So most of us. So since it's not everyone, we should probably go over how this works. The way Powered by the Apocalypse rules work is all of the things that you roll, or sometimes even the things that you don't roll, basically all the mechanics are written as something called a move. And these moves basically have a narrative trigger. It says, when you do this, then do the following. And most of the time, the following is roll a specific stat and basically do stuff based on the results. When it says to roll a stat, like for instance an eyeball, it says roll skill. What you're going to do is you're going to take 2d6, and I can post a roll for your party to do for a dice roller, or if people just want to have 2 dice on hand and roll them themselves, that also works. But you roll 2 dice. You add up the dice plus whatever your rank in the stat is, and then you read the results. The results are always broken down into 3 sections. If it's 6 or less, it's called a miss, in which case it may tell you what to do on a miss, or it may just give me the opportunity to do things. That's an important thing about this game. Myself as the GM will never be rolling the dice. I get to do things to you based on what you do. So one of the ways that I get to do something is if you fail a roll, that gives me a chance to add a complication to the story. The next band is a 7 through 9. And a 7 through 9, it's called a mixed success. Effectively, you kind of get what you want, but there's downsides. Maybe there's more complications. Maybe it's not as good as you were hoping for. Maybe you have to take some type of consequence to deal, in exchange for doing it. And then the last band is 10 plus. 10 plus is basically the best that you can do on it. There's usually never a downside, but it goes from there. Now, a lot of these moves are written in that you get a certain number of options to do based on the results. So basically, you'll notice that a lot of these will say, like for instance, when you size up a person or situation, roll plus skill. On a 10 plus, hold 2, or on a 7 through 9, hold 1. So if you roll a 10 plus, you get to ask 2. You get to do something more often. Terminology and a hold is basically it's something that you can you don't need to use the results right away. You can use them as that scene plays out, but if you don't use it by the end of the scene, it goes away. So this move says on a 10 plus, hold 2, on a 7 through 9, hold 1. Then it says spend a hold now or take or later to ask a question. Take +1 forward. A forward means that you get a bonus to the next roll that you make that is related to what happened. So take a +1 forward when you act on the answer. Give a +1 forward to another and share in the outcome if you prefer. So if you want to size somebody or a situation up, you can then say, oh, maybe I should act this way. Or you can nudge over to your section mate and say, hey, maybe you should do this. But you're involved in the response to it, good or bad. The questions you can ask on sizing up is, how can I help her? What does he want? What am I looking? Or what am I overlooking? Or how can I get ... Now, granted, there's a little bit of gendering in these questions. If it doesn't quite fit, we can alter the question a little bit to make it work. And then it says on this one, on a miss, the GM might offer you a straight up lie, honest mistake, or a tragic misunderstanding. So basically, if you miss on that roll, I get to basically set up something bad having to do with information. The next one is acting up. And this one actually has a couple of different options. You can either act up by acting like a hooligan, someone who's just like saying, I don't need the fucking rules. Or you can act like a lady in the middle of a military camp. Or if you are acting like you are a patriotic Soviet airwoman, and that you need to get your way because this is for the good of Mother Russia, then you roll plus medals. So basically, you read the stat based on how you're acting up, and then basically depending on the results, you get to choose those options from there. You can make someone do what you want. If the person you're imposing on is a PC, she can do it or not. But if she doesn't, you're both marked. I'll get into what marked is in a little bit. Let's just say it's bad. Ensure that there are no consequences for acting up. So basically, no one's going to go after you for retribution. Or you get to add to the mission pool. I'll get into what the mission pool is in a little bit. Reach out is basically when you're connecting to someone. I'm not going to read all of these moves because you're getting an idea for what they do. One of those is having to do with regard, and I'll talk about regard in a little bit. You can scrounge. Scrounge is when you are looking for basically things that are needed. Maybe you're looking for that part to repair your plane. Maybe you're looking for more fuel for the planes. Maybe you're looking for a bit of coffee because, man, you could really go for some coffee. It's basically you are going outside of the specific channels that you have available to try to acquire something that you desperately need. Repair. So, like I said, the mechanics barely have enough time to just do the basic maintenance during the day for all of the planes. If you come back with a damaged plane, the mechanics are probably going to insist that you help fix the plane. And that's when you are going to roll repair. And basically, it's going to tell you the options right there. The last move that you're likely to make is Tempt Fate. This is basically when you just do something dangerous that doesn't really fit. So if you're sneaking into an enemy camp, or if you're sneaking out for some reason and it's not a scrounge roll, then it's probably a Tempt Fate roll. So it's more of a catch-all, but it can be pretty vicious when you tempt fate. The last thing you see on the briefing is the ranking officer has to make some decisions about positions on the planes. So they're going to assign someone to be a navigator to wayfind. So one of the people in the navigator seats are going to do the wayfind role. Someone is going to be in the lead attack plane, and they're going to make the attack run roll. And then the remaining players are going to be Vedomaya, which are basically assisting. And they effectively get some ability to help the people out who are making rolls. So essentially, the person who's going to be the PC who's going to be the highest ranked is going to effectively be the ranking officer, and they're going to assign everybody. So Hannah might be a good person to be on the good side of. So when we get into missions, the Vedema are basically anyone who's not assigned to the attack run role or the wayfinding role. What they do is they automatically get a one hold, and they can spend that hold at any time to take on the consequences to yourself or your aircraft. So if someone making one of those roles needs to take one of those consequences, you could say, "Nope, I've got their back," and it happens to you instead. That's why I meant by you can help people out. Wayfinding is basically doing the navigation. If you're navigating by daylight or back to your base, you just find it. It's not a big deal. You know, it's easy to navigate during the day. At night, which is when you're flying, though, it's a lot harder. So you need to roll plus skill. On a 10 plus, you find it, and you basically find your path, and you line it up just right. On a 7 to 9, you choose your path, but you get a consequence. Your plane might suffer minor mechanical failure, in which case it's now damaged. The enemy is waiting for you, which triggers an enemy fire move. Or you're stressed or banged around, split 2 harm however you want. So that's between the 2 people in the plane. There's always a pilot and a navigator. On a miss, either scrub the mission and return in shame, or strike the target late and alone, forcing you to make your own attack run. Planes relying on your navigation can choose which miss condition they would prefer. So basically, if you completely fuck up a wayfinding roll, it can potentially split the party. And that's a rough thing to do. The attack run is basically the lead plane dropping bombs on the German tanks. This one rolls guts instead of skills. On a 10 plus, everything's perfect. On a 7 to 9, there's you choose 2 consequences. The damage to the target is not significant, and it's your fault, and everyone will know it. Or maybe not, but it is your fault. You fly through a storm of flak and trigger the enemy fire move. A plane in your section is damaged. I get to choose which plane. Or you and your fellow air woman are marked. And we'll get back to marked in a little bit. On a miss, either abort the attack completely, which surely will trigger an informal interview. That's basically the NKVD coming in and being like, "What the fuck happened? You're a traitor," and they'll decide whether or not to return you to duty or not. or you can desperately press on and tempt fate. So you would have to make that tempt fate roll. If you fail that attack run, you can tempt fate to try it again. On a that was a miss. After an attack run by a leader, if other pilots decide to make an additional attack run, they get a +1 forward. So another plane can come back and say, nope, we want more glory. They're going to go ahead and do another pass, in which case they get +1 to do that. Tempting fate works like tempting fate during the day, but bad things can happen as a result of it. Enemy fire is basically the enemy shoots at you, and you can kind of see what the consequences are there. One of the things it mentions is a wheels down. That's basically if you need to land the plane under bad circumstances, you have to roll to see if you to see what happens with it, because you can potentially crash the plane. And bad things can happen with that, including why the fuck did you crash a plane? Are you a traitor to Mother Russia? You're noticing a theme here. And the last thing that happens during the night phase is there's a debrief. You tell your chief or staff or the squadron commander what went right and what went wrong. I might inflict stress based on the mission, and yeah, things go from there. One thing that's important is Hannah is a zealot. If you are a zealot and you publicly shame a comrade, you can add one to the next night's mission pool, if you wish to. So yeah, that is basically the rule, the basic moves of the game. Some of the things that it talked about is the mission pool. The mission pool is very important. You notice that your stats are not very strong. There's not a lot of pluses to your stats. So what the mission pool is if you do things during the day to gather resources that can help out, maybe you acquire some extra bombs or extra fuel, or you've improved morale, you basically get in addition to the mission pool, which people can freely spend 1 for 1 before or after their roll to improve their roll. Now here's the thing, everyone's watching each other, so if someone sees, oh, Masha just took 3 out of the mission roll, that seems excessive, maybe she's a traitor, these things get noticed. But at the same time, hey, we had these mission resources that Masha didn't use and that caused a failure. Maybe Masha's a traitor. So it's a delicate balance and a huge double-edged sword there, especially because you can very likely get into trouble doing that. Now, as airwomen, your schedule is super tight. However, you can always do things like skip sleep, skip meals, skip your recreation time. The way this works is if you are not taking care of yourself, you will take a harm. If a move tells you to take a harm, you'll take a harm. If you fail a roll, I can make you take harm. So there's a lot of ways you can get harm. One harm is basically you're stressed out. Maybe you're sore, maybe you have a headache, maybe you need a good night's sleep. 2 harm is you actually have an injury, or you're actually like burnt out. It's having, there's serious effects there. And so 1 stress, if you just sleep regularly, it will go away. 2 stress, you need to actually do some things to get rid of it. 3 stress, you're downright injured and you need to be hospitalized. 4 stress, you're dead. Or I'm sorry, 4 harm and you're dead. The other thing that I mentioned is marked. If you take a look at the playbooks, there is a place that says, it's on the 2nd page of the playbooks, marks. Whenever you take a mark, either because a move told you to, or was a consequence, you have to check off one of these boxes. and then we'll wrap that into and then you tell us what option you chose, and then we have to make sure that that happens in the fiction. You notice a lot of these are not very pleasant things. Some of them are too bad. Tell a story of home, or speak truth to power. Some of them get one of them is advance and grow, so that one's actually good. You get to take an advance, which is how you improve your characters. But some of them start to get a little hairy, like tell a secret. And then some of them get really bad. Suffer the death of a friend or lover. Witness the death of a comrade. So it gets pretty nasty. You notice the last box is embrace death and face your final destiny. If you get marked too much, you are going to die. So marks are basically driving you towards your eventual demise. They're cool, but be careful about collecting too many. Now, in one duty station, you're probably not going to get them all, but I'd love it if when I run this again, some of you guys are back, and those marks are definitely going to carry over. Let's see. The last thing that I sort of mentioned is regard. Regard is basically a special bond with either a person or a plane. You can either have regard for one of the three planes, or you can have regard for one of the other PCs, or you can have regard for an NPC. The way it works is anytime you roll for that person or plane, or against that person or plane, you get +1. Now here's the thing, regard can't stack. If you have regard for your plane and regard for your navigator, you don't get a +2, you get a +1. There's 3 possible slots for regard, and each regard has basically who it revolves around and what that relationship is. So on your sheets, it actually is pre-programmed in, so your regard can be it looks like it's in a note. You can either love someone the most, trust someone the most, admire someone the most, respect someone the most, hate someone the most, resent someone the most, pity someone the most, fear someone the most, or there, etc. if there's something else that fits. Now, there are going to be times where you get to choose in advance, and there's several, and next to marks, they give you your options for advancing. Their harsh lessons is you learn a lesson and you get a new move, a move specific just to you. One of those moves is take a move from another playbook. So, hey, you might be able to take something that's that's outside of your normal nature. Another one is deepening ties, which basically unlocks another regard slot. Personal growth is you get to improve a stat. Honor and pride is you earn the medal that's leftmost. That's on the leftmost of your medal section on the playbook. I believe that's programmed into the sheet, but I didn't take a look too much. Add responsibility is you can increase your rank, and it goes straight up in order. So it goes from sergeant to junior lieutenant to senior lieutenant to, I'd have to look at the list, but you get the point. And the last one, if someone really wants to do it, we can switch to the next duty station early, but I'm hoping that we get to just play all 6 missions here. So that's how advancement works. Unlike other Powered by the Apocalypse World games, there's no experience. It's just you do something, either you trigger it in advance or you don't. So are there any questions about the rules before we kind of delve in for this last hour? Okay, excellent. Sorry that was a lot of talking all at once on my part. So what we're going to do is we're going to sum up the Inglis Aerodome, which is where you did your training. the first mission that was going to happen that we're just going to decide you guys succeeded at was a daylight mock bombing on a target outside of Bogoslavka. You enjoy an aggressive fighter bomber escort. And this gives you a chance to actually deepen some ties with each other. So I'm going to let you guys decide. Who's let's start with Hannah. Were you a pilot or were you a navigator, Hannah?
I was a pilot.
You were a pilot?
Mhm.
Which plane did you pilot?
I piloted, let's see, 28.
228?
Hmm.
Okay. Who was your navigator?
Let's have a look. I think, let's go through the. My navigator was Dasha.
It's Dasha. Oh, Dasha. Hannah came in and said, "You're my navigator." She denied you a chance to fly this mission. How do you feel about that?
Annoyed, but like there's not much I can say about it since like, oh, you're trusting me to navigate your plane. Yeah, it's kind of a backhanded, thing that I really, it's not something I can complain about reasonably.
But you're kind of passive aggressive about it, maybe?
Yeah.
Awesome. Masha, was Ira in your plane?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Was Ira in your plane?
Yeah, I think I was navigating for Ira, and yeah, she's a good pilot, right?
Yeah. Ira, which plane were you in?
Let's go with 51.
51. Excellent. So this was pretty routine. However, it gave you a chance to get to know each other. So everyone gets to get a free deepening ties that doesn't count towards their character sheet. So choose a person or a plane to get a regard for.
Where would we write that down? Like
On your
as the
character
job?
sheet, it says I under regard. It says I blank the name or I, and then it's description of what the relation your feelings towards them is, and then you fill in what plane or what person it is. By the way, if you get a regard with a plane, you can absolutely name the plane. It will still have the same tail number. It'll just have a name. By the way, Dono, you actually start with 0 moves. I just removed the one.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I thought I started with 1.
Nope.
But no bother.
Most Apocalypse World games, you start with something. This one's different. That's okay. Where you are going to get a move, I'm just doing it in
Sure.
the order here.
No problem.
Dasha, who did you... Oh, people are still working on this.
Someone's on the wrong character sheet. It's not.
Yeah,
It's not me.
it's me.
Okay. I was like, wait. Was about to
Yeah,
fill
I'm
that in.
sorry.
Okay. No problem. I was just confused there for a second. Okay. See. All right. Who is who?
David, on my character sheet, the important stuff is blacked out. Not sure why that
Yeah.
is.
I'm not sure either. I was wondering if it was something that I saw or if it was someone else. There we go. I fixed it.
Oh,
Is that
Right.
because they're not open until we do this part?
No, for some reason, just the background setting was set for black. But I fixed it for. It looks like it only. Oh no, looks like Brian needs it as well. Ew. There you go. I don't know how that happened, but it was easy enough to fix. Dasha, you still can't have regard for yourself. So, Ira, how did you come to admire Plane 51?
Yeah, I think its wild personality matches up well with my flying style. This is a good fit.
So you kind of like that it doesn't take any shit.
Yeah, I may have just gotten lucky, but it went well. So,
Do you have a nickname for the plane?
yeah, I'm trying to come up with that. I'm thinking about it.
Masha, why do you now trust Ira?
I think the mechanic was like looking at us as if we were crazy, picking 51 out of the gate, like, hey, be careful on that one. It's a bit crazy. And yeah, Ira just flew it like a champ, I think. And yeah, I think probably Masha has felt really safe with Ira at the controls.
All right. I just added a note so I remember why it's wild. Let's see. Hannah, why do you respect Dasha?
Well, I mean, I had low expectations to begin with, to be honest. But I think 228 we flew on point. We were the leading plane. So her job was to get us safe to enemy lines. And maybe it's her death wish or some other part of her character, but she pointed the plane without any regards for our safety, to the midst of things. And I do respect that.
God, that's terrible. And Dasha, you respect Masha. Why is that?
I think it's more about her day actions than her night actions. She doesn't seem to worry about like towing the line. you know, she's willing to like take risks and get in trouble without a whole lot of concern. And yeah, I respect that. I also think that it'll probably turn out badly, but who am I to talk?
All right. So the second mission, you are forced to switch roles. They're going to keep everyone in the same planes, and just flip flop the roles. This one goes a lot rougher, but it gets through. The third one, they're changing everyone's planes, and that, but it's going to different roles. So, Hannah, are you going to be a wayfinder, leading the attack run, or a wing woman?
I'd like to lead the attack.
You're going to lead the attack run. Okay. Ira, who is Hannah's navigator?
So it's someone from the same plane.
No,
The first one, or
it can be one of the PCs, or Junior Lieutenant.
okay, so it could be any of us though, because you were saying you were keeping.
Yeah, it can be either of you or the two additional pilots. They're going to insist not putting Hannah in with Dasha though, because the two of them have already flown together.
I'll say I was navigating.
You were navigating?
Yeah.
Okay. Dasha, who did you bump out of the pilot seat?
Ira.
So Ira was going to fly, and you're like, nope.
Yeah. Nope, my turn.
Okay. And then Masha, do you navigate for Lieutenant Arudina, or for Dasha?
I think I navigate for Dasha. I like to imagine that maybe when I saw her kick Ira out of the seat, I went, "Oh yeah, I might want to take a go at this." And I kind of think maybe I'm sympathetically harboring a grudge against Hannah for keeping Dasha out of the pilot seat.
Hannah, what do you do when Arudina is trying to take the lead bomber role from you?
I mean, I always have my ears out for information about people. So I probably know something about her that she doesn't want the NKVD to know.
Oh,
Or do I?
You're okay. So you're making her nervous about an informal interview.
I drop like casually that I have. I mean, I don't know what I would know about her. Maybe she stole coffee or something for her personal stash.
I mean, you haven't known each other long, but man, you didn't think that was water in her mug this morning.
Exactly.
Okay, awesome. So everyone now gets to choose a harsh lesson and a new move. So basically, you get to choose one of your moves to have. And I would like everyone to go around and share the moves because these are awesome.
I mean, I'm tempted to take a dead comrade, but we haven't had a dead PC or NPC yet. So I think it makes more sense to have it later on in the story.
Oh, you were thinking of taking ghosts?
Yeah, ghosts.
It doesn't have to be someone from the unit. It can be. But yeah,
I think it makes more sense if it is someone we have already seen on screen, so to speak.
okay.
I'm taking Murky Past.
Murky past. You guard your history very carefully. Choose 2 things you are hiding: valuable training, prominent family, political connections, a strange secret, or portable wealth. Define them whenever you want and reveal either a secret to save the day, make an impression, or ruin somebody.
Awesome.
I think I'm going to stick with Fortune's Fool, which allows me to choose a single move and replace the roll stat with plus luck. And yeah, this is going to be I think you're going to replace it for Wayfind.
So you don't know. You actually don't know.
I'm not a technical navigator. I just kind of glance up at the stars and kind of best guess and remember back to the briefing, and it'll work out. It always works out.
Okay. So
except for when it doesn't. Right?
I'm going to mark that as a Y. Ira, what did you choose?
I went ahead and with Bedside Manor. Someone was injured somehow, and I hope to take care of them, nurse them back to health.
Awesome. And then finally, Dasha.
Actually, I have a question first. What are Articles 58 and 133?
Yes, those are what I was referring to. What the NKVD are looking for. Let me look. They show up a bunch in footnotes within the book because I am going to read them out loud. Sorry, I usually prefer to have a PDF for this, but I bought this at my local store, which is great that they had a copy of it. Okay. Article 58 reads, a counter-revolutionary action is any action aimed at overthrowing, undermining, or weakening the power of workers and peasants, Soviets, and government of the USSR, or at undermining or weakening of external security of the USSR and main economic, political, and national achievements of the proletarial revolution. So basically, if you do anything that's bad for your country, that's Article 58. Article 133 reads, to defend the motherland is the sacred duty of every citizen of the USSR. Treason to the motherland, violation of the oath of allegiance, desertion to the enemy, impairing military power of the state, espionage is punishable with all the severity of the law as the most heinous of crimes. So basically, if they think that you're disloyal at all, they get to do whatever the fuck they want to.
That's a really good one, but I think I'm going to take intense navigation instead. To find a target at night, you don't need to wayfind if you instead take a mark or one harm.
So that specifically means is only active when you're doing the wayfind roll.
Yeah, all of mine are very specific, so it's like, when am I going to use this? I don't know, but it's cool.
No, I just wanted to make sure because as the adventurer, you want to fly.
Right, that's true.
Now that could just be like, hey, I might want to fly, but I'm a good navigator.
Yeah, yeah. I think yeah, I'll keep that one. That's good.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure that you were aware of those differences there.
Yeah, I got it.
Dave, only one of us will ever be wayfinding, right?
Yes. Well,
so,
most of the time.
Yeah.
If someone fails at wayfinding, they could potentially get separated off, and someone else then says, fuck it, I've got to navigate myself now.
Sure. I'm just thinking if I might repurpose the move that I took because I pointed it directly at wayfinding as well. But what if that sounds all right?
I mean, it's up to you guys. Remember, you're not always going to be in the same section.
Sure, I know that. But
actually, I have a better idea. I'm going to take a move from another playbook, and I'm going to take the hawk move. I was just looking at it a second ago. 11.4 meters tip to tip. When you want to land in some new place, you can ask, is it remotely possible to land there? And the GM will tell you. If the answer is yes, you don't need to roll the wheels down move.
Awesome. And I'm finding the hawk right now so I can copy and paste that in there. It didn't appear to like that. That partially intersects a merge. Oh, it's probably because of how the PDF is formatted. Nope.
I got it.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. You have to paste it into the window at the top instead of directly into the cell.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. So we are now at Trojgonyaka. The summer weather is good for flying, and the fascist scum have not quite learned how to counter harassment bombing. The biggest target dangers come from inexperienced crews and your own primitive airfield, which is made of split logs and mud. Hay bales line the runway and are set on fire to guide damaged planes home. Circumstances are not ideal. So I believe I included this in the folder here, but basically we are in an area that encompasses the western gateway to the Caucasus and consists of a lot of forests and marshes and fertile agricultural fields. Most of which have been abandoned because of the fighting. And you use farms oftentimes as landmarks right now. Let's see. To the southeast to northwest, there's a rail line. which is a key strategic feature and navigational reference. Let's see. You're currently a lot of these bombings you look for structures around the Brianka coal mines, and let's see, long fire breaks in the forest. So yeah, that's basically an overview of where we are. An important thing about the circumstances, though, is let's see, somewhere it actually lists an effect. Oh, here we go. However, everything is chaos, and the supply chain is severely fractured. New recruits can't even find the regiment, much less parts and consumables. Occasionally, aircraft need to be dispatched to distant warehouses by day to bring back food. Mechanically, you guys get a -1 for scrounge and repair at the basically during this whole duty station. Either you have to find it and fix it yourself because because there's not really much else to help you do that. When you first arrived, there was an officer who was in no condition to fly. Who was that?
Is it a new NPC or someone from our squad?
It could be a new NPC. It could be. It can't be Valentina or Sophia because they were in training with you. It's someone who is already at the base.
Could it be our squadron leader?
Absolutely.
Petrova? And maybe it's something like her plane hit a rut because we've established that the landing here is pretty hairy. So maybe one of her wheels collapsed on landing and she broke a leg or something.
Absolutely. I'm reloading my page because what the heck is it doing? Okay. Sorry, the spreadsheet was acting completely nuts on my computer, so I'm reloading it and hoping for the best. So I do want to take these notes. Okay. So she was injured.
Yeah, maybe not a broken leg because that'll keep her out for longer than one mission, but maybe she sprained her ankle or something with the rough landing and can't pilot, or at least she needs to both feet to use the pedals.
She probably insists that she can fly just fine, but regulations. If she went down, she wouldn't be able to carry herself home, and then she could be captured by the Germans and tortured for information. You know what? That's probably what she wants. She's probably a Russian spy.
Yeah. Counter-revolutionary, first against the wall, right, Hannah?
It's Regulation 58, the worst.
Let's see. Text wrapping, wrap. Okay. What is being done to keep livestock off the runway, and why isn't it working?
We borrowed a local farmer's sheepdogs, but now there's sheepdogs on the runway.
There's all of these dogs.
Yeah, and they really like people, so they're kind of getting in the way and like stealing food whenever they can, and they're more hassle than the sheep were.
The puppies are so cute.
They are.
Who gave the German FW-190 pilot, seemingly obsessed with your regiment, the nickname Yellowtail?
So who, like the Germans gave us the nickname Yellowtail?
No, there's a German pilot that's out to get you, and he's been nicknamed Yellowtail. Who came
Oh,
up with
like
the
the Red
nickname?
Baron or something. Okay.
Exactly.
How about Sophia, the superstitious sergeant? Saw it and gave it a name like a yellow jacket because it reminded her of a buzzing wasp. Then we said like yellow jacket doesn't make any sense, and we said yellow tail because it has its tail marker is yellow or something like that. So we just kind of gave a more practical slant to her seeking for omens as usual.
And finally, what does the rye field used as an airbase at Gronyaka look like? Where is the where's the rough runway lined by bales? Where are the leaky plywood covered dugouts that serve as a barracks? Where is the actual village? These are things that we can describe. It also suggests drawing it, but basically, what imagery do we see here? How far away is it to get to the actual village? How are things laid out? Like what's convenient? What's annoying?
So I can maybe start with the village. I think it is like to get things from there. We send air women on a bicycle, and it takes half an hour to get there.
Maybe the roads are built for really narrow farming wagons, and the trucks the regiment has for hauling fuel and all just can't make the trip.
Are there still villagers around?
I'd say there has to be, right, because it's still behind our lines. So
it could have been abandoned or evacuated.
yeah, but that can't be accepted. We're going to hold this ground no matter what the cost, and anyone fleeing is counter-revolutionary, right? They're reactionary.
Despite the orders, is the town sparsely populated? Is it fully populated? Have been people trying to get away from the town or the village?
I think a lot of people have been discovering that their sick mother-in-law needs someone to take care of them, and they just happen to live eastwards.
It's currently sparsely populated. Excellent. So you started your training about 2 months ago, and you just arrived to basically this shithole in the middle of a farm field, and it wouldn't be a shithole, because you get, some of you have come from little farming villages like this, except for the fact that basically they have you taking off and landing in a wheat field. This was not the nice aerodome with proper runways that you were trained in. You get around and you notice that supplies aren't great. Morale is kind of mixed. You know, some people are missing comforts from home. Other people are like, "Fuck yeah, we're showing it to those fascist bastards." Um, you basically arrived 1 day ago from your training, and tomorrow you're going to fly your first actual mission. So you have a very small amount of downtime to get accustomed. By the way, in your training, you were on you were basically on a daytime schedule. Your mission is going to be nocturnal. So you have basically a day to adjust. Let's start with Dasha. What do you do when you first get here to the base?
Um, hmm. I'm gonna go talk to the mechanics and make sure all the planes are in working order.
Yeah, well, I mean, these are the planes that were just you basically flew them here.
Okay, cool.
They're the same planes from your training.
Right, okay.
But yeah, I mean, so you can check up on the mechanics, make sure they're doing the proper maintenance. I mean, you don't know who these hicks are.
Right, yeah, I want to get to know them because like these are the people who are, going to be working on the vehicles that need to stay in the air. So yeah, it's kind of important. And
Are
it's good to
you
get to know
taking anyone with you to check out the planes?
them. No, I'm gonna go by myself, but like if someone else wants to like go independently and meet up there, that's cool.
Okay. Yeah, so you get to the hangar, and everyone is running around doing things. It's not really a hangar; it's more of like a tarp where
Right.
they can just keep things dry. Um, everyone looks super scrambled and tired and stressed out. And they're like, they're shouting at each other. It sounds like there's a lot of friction among the mechanics pool.
Right. I'll ask someone what's going on.
What do you want? I'm busy.
Yeah, I see that. Sorry. What
Out with it.
what happened? What happened? Why are you all so busy? Is there something I can help with?
The stream of obscenities coming out at you is
Right, yes.
massive. Why would I need an idiot piece of fresh meat air jockey who's just going to rip up more of these planes that I'm going to have to fix? Ruining a plane before they're even in the air. Do you have any sense in you at all? You stupid bitch! Get out of my way and do something useful.
That's what I was asking, if I could do something useful.
Yes, not to any of my planes. Get the hell out of here.
All right, works for me.
You saw her greasy overalls said SG Morova on it.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah, you hear some of the other mechanics being like, Mina, why do you have to be so hard on the newbies?
Yeah, okay, fine. I will, I don't know, I'll just trying to like familiarize myself with the place really.
Mhm.
So I mean, I am actually completely cool with her getting rid of me because wanting to, or like asking if I could help was really just an excuse to be there. Um, uh, yeah.
The other option was she was going to basically load you up with a ton of work, but it was
Right,
established
yeah.
that
Yeah, this actually is
Morova,
kind of better.
yeah, it's established that Morova basically hates delegating. So
Right, yes. Yes. Okay. Um, yeah, let's see. I don't know. I'm basically, yeah, I'm just gonna like walk around familiarizing myself with the place. Um, see if I can like catch up with some of the other new people. Um, and uh,
okay,
yeah, that's all. Nothing specific.
Ira, what are you doing on your 1 day off?
Hmm. Um, Probably writing to my sister, giving her the update.
Okay,
on
are
how-
you reaching out to her?
Sure. What's that?
It's one of your
Oh,
daytime
that's one of
moves.
the that's one of the moves. Huh? Sure.
You have to reveal a significant new truth.
Ooh,
If you don't have one, that's fine. But remember, if you roll well, you can do things like add to the mission pool.
that sounds good. A significant truth. Significant new truth.
I mean, it could be a lot of things. I mean, you're about to fly your first mission.
Um, I think I because she's back home and I can be honest with her. I get it off my chest that I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm doing what we're doing. I think it's important. I don't like flying.
All right.
And I just kind of get it off my chest to my younger sister. I'm not, yeah. Plus, like, I'm also like terrified, and I don't want to tell her that. So this is the thing I can admit.
Oh yeah. No,
without upsetting her too much.
yeah, you are definitely confiding in your sister. That you're not saying you're scared, but yeah, go ahead and roll.
Oop.
Let's see. It looks like it's just a flat roll.
Where are we rolling? Do we have a?
Oh yeah, I can pull up a roll for your party. Roll 30. Give me the same. Here we go. New rule or new room because we don't want the one from Unknown Armies. We are actually that's strangely good. The previously flying humpback. I can set up 2d6.
There we go. We got our nickname for aircraft 51. It's a little bit bent, so we call it the humpback.
There's 2 dice for you to roll.
Okay. Where there it is, reroll selected. 4.
4. Awesome. Turning this right away. Okay, yep, I know what's going to happen. So you're spending your day writing home to your sister. Masha, what are you doing?
um, Obviously, the truth that we were going to be doing night missions never really struck everyone when we were doing training. And I'm looking at the flashlights that they gave us to help us look at our maps, and they're like normal flashlights, which are going to ruin our night vision. So I'm scrounging around for something to change the tint to red.
Mm.
So that's not something I think is going to be on the shelf. So maybe something like the commander's Lend-Lease Jeep has got red brake lights. So
This sounds like a scrounge. We'll see if you can find what you need.
okay. So I'm rolling plus luck. Let me roll 2d6.
By the way, we can just share dice. It's not,
Oh, okay.
you know.
So that's a
I just
7.
wanted to make sure that people like didn't feel like they needed to pull their own dice. There's no reason why we need to.
When I re-roll in Roll for Your Party, I'm never entirely sure if I'm doing it. So that's a 7, so a 9 total.
9 total?
Yeah.
Okay. So on a 7 to 9, you get what you need, but choose 2.
And I'm a misanthrope, so I only choose 1, right?
Oh, that's a good point.
Okay. What makes the most sense? I I think I incur a debt. Maybe the driver notices me, and he doesn't give me the unwanted attention officially, but I certainly owe him. He turns away and drinks his coffee or whatever.
I actually have a different idea
Okay,
because I don't
go
want to
ahead.
create another NPC right now.
Sure.
I think you start looking at a supply truck and like you're trying to figure out how to get the brake cover off of there, and Sergeant Morova is like, "What the hell are you doing, newbie?"
Sergeant,
By the way,
these
you are the same rank, but since she has been in the enlisted longer, she she defaults outranks you.
yeah. So I kind of look around and Sergeant, they've given us these terrible flashlights which will blind us in the middle of the night. So I'm looking for something to take the edge off. And a truck only needs 1 red brake light, right? That's enough to do our whole section.
Look. You steal a brake light, NKVD gets on you. Come with me.
Okay.
She goes and like in her back office, she basically has a bunch of glass bottles that she basically has been cutting for replacement glass for like dials and stuff.
Okay.
When parts gets close, and she grabs like a green bottle, cuts cuts a piece off of it.
Works for me. Thanks, Sarge.
You owe me one.
Sure, I'll buy you a drink, right?
Oh, if you can find me a drink out here, you'll put a smile on my face.
I mean, so long as it doesn't kill you, that's what counts, right?
Oh, I've got plenty that will kill a person. All right. And we're getting close to the 4 hour mark, so Lastly, Hannah. It's getting close to mission time. It's going to be the briefing soon. And yeah, Senior Lieutenant Olga calls you into the tent when it's getting close to start your first mission. How have you been adjusting to the time difference? Because they're calling you maybe, into the tent around 7 p.m., and you're going to be up all night.
I mean, it's summer, so I picture Hannah that she spent the majority, like after, she probably hung up a picture of Stalin or something in her locker. But she spent the most day dozing in the sun with her back to the barracks.
Okay, so you've been trying to get onto the correct sleep schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then I adjust my uniform, have a last look in the mirror to see my dazzling beauty, and then I enter the tent.
Yeah, so Senior Lieutenant Petrova gets up and is kind of limping towards you to shake your hand.
Yeah, I shake her hand. I salute, obviously.
Sit down. So you were recommended to be leading the squadron. I want to know why.
Ma'am, I think it is a combination of I'm very determined and I'm probably the best you can get.
What I can get out of training is a bunch of dumb girls with stars in their eyes. The ones that survive, on the other hand, that's where we find our cream. So, I want to know who's cream and who I should ground before they're going to just get themselves killed.
Well, I have good news for you. I have 3 very talented personnel. Who I would ground for today, though, is Sergeant Lavrova.
She's the superstitious one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Really? Why is that?
Under pressure, she breaks. She's not made of Russian steel. Might be Ukrainian.
All right, she'll be your navigator. Safer
Well,
roll.
I'll have to make sure that I survive then.
One thing you'll learn, there's not a backup out here. If we're a woman down, we operate with a woman down. Now, it's one thing to say, hey, don't put her in the pilot seat. But to say we can't use her is unacceptable.
As long as I'm in the pilot seat, I will come back with or without her.
Okay. Who else do you think should be flying?
Do you want my honest opinion, or do you want to set another trap so that I will put the best, the least qualified one in the pilot seat? You have to tell me in advance, because otherwise I cannot give the right answer.
You misunderstand. You told me that Sergeant Lavora didn't handle pressure well, and that you were the best. If you're the best, you can strengthen our weakest link.
But you told me that I have to ground one of my very qualified personnel, and I told you the truth.
I didn't say ground. I said who's going to survive and who's not. What you misunderstood is if someone's weak, we've got to make them strong. Grounding is not an option. I just need to know where I need to invest my time.
Well, invest your time in me, and you won't be disappointed. I fly with whoever you put in my plane.
Okay. Who else should be in the pilot seat?
It should be Dasher in the pilot seat with Masha as a navigator. Oh, hold on. Who had the navigator out of character? Donna, you have the navigator one.
Yeah, Masha was the good navigator.
Okay.
Dasha and Masha in a plane?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what's interesting is Sergeant Arudina said that you were the best navigator. Why is that? You're saying that you're the best pilot.
Who said that?
Valentina Arudina. She's the other junior lieutenant in the section.
She envies me and wishes me the worst that can happen. Don't trust her.
Tell you what. Tonight you'll fly Venomaya with Sophia as your navigator. Arudina will do the attack run, and Masha will wayfind. Is this acceptable?
This is unacceptable. I would like to be leading the attack.
Ooh, that sounds like you're acting up here.
Yeah, the problem is I acted like a hooligan, which will be my downfall, but let's see. Or maybe I acted like a Russian airwoman. I don't know. Then at least I have +0.
Yeah, if you are saying no, the best thing to do is I'm a proud pilot. That totally can work.
Awesome. Let's see. Selected. Wow, I have a 9.
Okay. So you get to choose one.
I would like to add to the mission pool.
Awesome.
That means there could be consequences for me acting up, and I don't necessarily get what I want.
Yep. Yeah. Petrova is like, no, it is an order. You will be Vadima.
I salute.
That said, you have been assigned to You have been assigned to plane 256, but when you get there, you notice that you have a double payload of bombs.
Is it too heavy for that plane, or what are the
Nope.
consequences?
She basically gave you extra bombs.
Awesome.
So, let's fly the mission. Let's see. Irina, you were not assigned. So you were going to be navigating for what's her name? Arudina. So basically, you get to do the Vadima role is how that works. Masha was going to be wayfinding, and Arudina is doing the attack run. So, let's start with Masha's role.
So, sorry, we've got 2 mission pool, right?
Where did the other mission pool come from?
I got one
Right.
for scrounging.
Oh, you.
That's yeah. On a hit, I get what I need and add 1 to the mission pool.
A hit, you get what you needed. Oh yeah, that does add 1. So we've got 2 mission pool. 7 to 9. And you owed the debt. Okay, yeah, that looks good. So you guys have 2 mission pool.
So I guess the core roles wayfind and I know I get to choose, right? But wayfinding and the attack run are
Yes. So the attack
But
run is
the attack
actually
run is-
assigned to an NPC right
yeah.
now.
Okay. Okay. So I guess I'm rolling at +2. So let me just have a look at the consequences. Yeah, I'm going to spend 1 to the mission pool.
You get to actually spend mission pool before or after the roll.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Well, I will. I guess I'll hold off. So, and okay. So that is a 7, +2 for luck, which brings it to 9. So I might boost it to a 10 to avoid any consequences. Although some stress is a small price to pay if we save the mission pool for later. Yeah, I think I'll save the mission pool for later, and we in the lead plane maybe we take 1 harm each, so which is like general stress and
Yeah. So
discomfort.
You were in the plane with Dasha, right?
Yeah.
So you and Dasha take harm. Then it comes to time for Arudina to make her attack roll. She fails it. Basically, she's aligning it up, does the run, and completely she drops the bombs too early. And signals all of you guys to drop too early. So you didn't do any damage. How do you guys respond to that?
Do we have any kind of communication between the planes?
The way it works is no, there's not anything like radio on these planes. You guys actually cut your engines off as you approach, glide in, drop your bombs, start your engines back up, circle around, go reload your go reload the plane and do it again. And it's basically run after run after run. But basically, what you're noticing is Arudina does not have her timing right. So you're dropping your bombs too early and not doing and dropping on the wrong area. So your option.
The 256 has 2 loads we established. So theoretically, because you don't drop them both, I assume.
Yeah. It's manually you drop a bomb. These are not actual bombers. They're planes where you pick up a bomb out of out of your load and you drop it on the enemy.
And we drop both loads.
It's probably the navigator that's actually doing the dropping while the pilot is staying in control of the plane.
Okay.
Sorry, what's a bomb load? Is it like one bomb, or that you have both hands on and drop, or is it like lots of little ones? Or
I'm pretty sure it's like you lift a bomb up, you drop it, you grab another. I'm not that much of a World War II historian, so I don't know for sure. But essentially, you can let the mission fail, or someone can break formation and tempt fate.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Yeah, I'll like delay after she on the next run. I'll delay after she gives a signal and wait until we're actually at the right place and then drop.
Mm-hmm. So what you'll have to do is tempt fate in order to make your own attack run.
Okay. Find the right window. Where's the dice roller? There it is. But I don't know what that 5 is there for. But yeah, that's 3.
You rolled a 3?
Yep. Unless, hold on, do I... tempt fate is just like flat roll, right?
No, it's plus guts.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, that's the 4 then. Still fails.
Yeah, there's not even enough mission pool for you to add to it.
No, there's nothing I can do about it.
So yeah, so what I want you to do is take a mark.
Okay.
And it says take harm as established. Let's see, Animus. Press on tempting fate. Doesn't quite tell me what the established harm is.
Is it just like established by the fiction, or is it?
Yeah, it normally is established by. Is it flag fire or is it? I don't know.
Well, it doesn't specifically say do the enemy fire roll. So let's see. Like if I choose to harm, you need to be hospitalized. So I'm a little wary of doing that. Let's see. For 2 harm to heal that, you need to rest, skip a mission and rest. Let's just call it 1 harm.
Okay.
Does anyone else want to try to be a hero here?
Come on, Hannah, show us why you should lead the attack runs next time.
Yeah, I'm torn between my nature, which is a sparrow, and the sparrow would fly away from trouble, like first signs of trouble, and my determination of being a zealot. I'm torn. But I think, as Donna pointed out, I think I want to impress the senior lieutenant.
Mhm.
So when I see, I see Dasher being shot down or shot at.
Yeah, let's say what happens is she slowed down a whole bunch to do kind of a she stalled to try to do a more delayed run. And that gave the Germans a chance to line up a shot. So she realizes that she was being shot at like right at the wrong time and banks hard and knocks her head against the wing strut.
And so I think that Hannah sees that the Germans point their fire at Dasher's plane. So I think she would try to use the small diversion to come at them from a different angle.
Mhm.
And yeah, drop her load.
Yeah. Tempt some fate here.
And fate is guts, and my guts is 0. Awesome. See. That is a 5. Is it? Yeah, the blue ones.
Okay.
But I have 2 points from the mission pool to bump it up to a 7.
Yeah. So yeah, you totally break formation and just that tank that was targeting tank or the anti-air gun that was targeting Dasha, it gets a shot off, but then you just go woof right right on its stabilizing strut, and the thing just basically these aren't very powerful bombs, but you see that strut just cracks. There's shrapnel everywhere. That's a piece of equipment now they have to repair, and you know how hard it is to get or you're getting an idea of how hard it is to repair a piece of equipment out in the field. So yeah, you did some damage there. However, let's see, it was a 7.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm sorry, I should offer this as a choice. You can take out that anti-air gun if you get it, but you have to expose yourself to machine gun fire. So it would have, so you would be taking a enemy fire roll in order to hit the anti-air cannon.
Yeah, that's what we're here for.
Okay, so roll luck.
That is not my strong suit. Let's see. So I have a -1 on this. And I get a 6, -1 is a 5.
What was you said? A 6 and a 5?
No. I wish. It's a 5 and a 1,
Oh,
which
it's
is
a
a
5.
6, and a -1 is a 5.
Okay. And who is in the plane with you? That's right, Sophia.
It's her fault.
I get to choose 3.
They are all good.
You know, I'm going to choose one from off of the list. You take damage and can't make it back to base, so you're going to be caught behind enemy lines.
Caught or like
Sorry, your
captured?
plane's you're gonna have to land your plane behind enemy lines, and we're gonna leave that as the cliffhanger. Now, Dasha has to choose a marked, which we'll cover in next session. What did you choose for your marked role, or for your marked?
I think publicly shame a comrade because I'm gonna totally blame Lieutenant Ardina.
Awesome. Oh, actually, no, it was Horst who was caught behind enemy lines. No, Dano, you were not making it to next set. You were not in session 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, unless someone can't make it, I think I'm
Yeah.
first on the wait list. But yeah, at the moment I'm not going to be around next week, so
Okay. So then the section is going to go through some major alterations. But we'll see how that all goes. I want to thank everyone for joining us. And I am totally up for debriefing after we end this broadcast. So feel free to stay and chat and give me a better idea what could have gone better and what you're excited for and so on.